I've been told that my dog can teach me a lot about forest bathing. Yep, forest bathing. Stick around. You won't want to miss this one. Welcome to Windows to the Wild. I'm Willem Lang. Today we're in Shirley, Massachusetts, right in the middle of a beautiful conservation area called Far and Near. Now, I've been here before and practiced something called forest bathing. I'm here again today to do that again, but this time with a dog. Joining me today, actually I'm joining her, is Nadine Mazzola, who's a certified forest therapy guide, right? Now, I was here a couple of years ago when we did the forest bathing without dogs. This time it's going to be with dogs. And when I consider how contemplative my dog usually is not, how's this going to work?
Well, one of the amazing things about forest bathing with our dogs is that we actually tune in to our dogs. And so Kiki's natural energy, we're just going to really follow some of that. And rather than trying to fit her into us, we're going to maybe fit more into what our dogs are doing and even inviting us to do.
Okay. We shall see. Now, we're not training the dogs as such, right?
Right. We're not training them at all. We're really learning to look with their natural way. There's one thing of when we sit and do some what I call relaxed forest sitting. And I use the word relaxed because actually in dog training there's a relaxed sit or a relaxed down where the dogs aren't intensely sitting in a certain way, but they're able to just relax. And so that's much more of what we're doing out here, is just finding a way to bring our rhythms together. Hold on, Julia. Our dogs have this amazing ability to sense us and read our unspoken cues. In fact, dogs and humans have more of a connection than even human to human in terms of an ability.
That's true, yep.
In terms of an ability to pick up on each other's signals, and that's what we're going to build on.
Okay, good. And we're going to meet a couple, as it were, out here.
Yes,
right?
My dear friend Pam Andruskevich and her young pup Cora, who's not yet a year old.
Cora.
Pam is also a certified forest therapy guide.
Ah, okay, good. So I'll be in double hands today.
Good company.
Can't possibly go wrong. You hear that, Kiki? Yeah, right, she hears that. Well, why don't we go do it? I mean, that's what we're here for,
That's
right?
great. So first we're just going to start off with kind of arriving at this place and just letting ourselves and our dogs do what it is they want to do and just settling in. We're not going to try and, slip into some relaxed or contemplative forest bathing mode right away. We're really just going to kind of take our time and arrive here, go for a walk.
Okay. I know what she wants to do.
She wants to go hunting.
Well, she runs in big circles around me. Checks in, makes sure I'm still standing every 5 seconds. Okay, so we'll try her on a leash and see what happens.
Great.
Okay, here we go. Far and Near, that's all one word, is owned by the trustees of reservations. It's a nonprofit that preserves land around Massachusetts. Our dogs have almost 3 miles of trails to explore. Some are in fields, most are under canopy. You'll find Far and Near off Center Road in Shirley, Massachusetts. It was once the summer home of Arthur Banks, a political scientist and professor. His grandfather named the property because it was 50 miles from his home. far enough to require a 2-day journey by horse, but near enough to be a vacation home. This is Cora. At the other end of her leash is forest therapy guide Pam Andruskevich. She and Nadine are friends. I met Pam during my previous visit here.
And I was asking you, what do you notice about having Cora with you versus when you're walking alone?
I thought I noticed a lot, but boy, I'm seeing even more and more, because with her, she is constantly so close to the ground and everything, and just, even if it's like a cricket or like she'll find the tiniest toad, and, I think that's what I like. It's just she's finding more for me to look at.
Before we head out on the trails with our dogs, let's go back to 2016.
And in a moment, we're going to close our eyes. So just take a look around and notice where you are, and just get your feet comfortable. Maybe shake off a little of the road dust that we've come and brought with us.
That's when I first met Nadine. She invited me to Far and Near to learn about forest bathing.
I'd like to direct your attention to your sense of touch. What do you notice with your sense of touch?
To truly understand, she said, you have to try it.
And if you're noticing anything with your sense of sound that you're particularly enjoying, feel free to linger with that or return to that. Notice how that's making you feel.
Forest bathing originated in Japan. It's nature's therapy. The idea is to slow down, relax, and observe the natural world all around you.
Slowing down and just starting a different level of noticing. And then even playing, just sitting by a stream and playing, or building a fairy house, playing hide and seek through the woods, or just taking time to sit with a tree and whatever comes.
Forest bathing wasn't always part of Nadine's life. She's a former billiards champ.
I began playing in college, and then I founded and ran a regional tour and played around New England, and then graduated to the Pro Tour.
Nadine spent years far from this world, working at a high-pressure corporate job, and she survived breast cancer. In fact, that's how she discovered forest bathing.
I guess I was recovering from treatment for breast cancer.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just at the point where I was going out on my own, away from my doctors, and I was really focused on self-care and how can I take care of myself. And when I came across forest bathing, the idea that I could receive healing from the forest in the way of the phytoncides that come from the tree canopy, the volatile oils that they emit, and that they're actually a boost to my immune system. The NK cells in my immune system get boosted, and this is one of the studies that the Japanese have done in several different ways. I was looking for ways to boost my immune system, and the fact that just being under the forest canopy could do it I was there.
Well, that was 2016.
When she's off leash, does she go between your legs like that?
Since then, Nadine discovered forest bathing with her dog. She wrote a book. Juliet is on the cover.
I love walking in the forest with my dog. And I also love the practice of forest bathing. And I just naturally started bringing the two together. I had this moment where I had just come back from training to be a certified forest therapy guide, and this practice was really alive in me. And I was walking down the trail with Juliet, and she jumped off the trail into this bank of ferns after a chipmunk. And I was watching her, just her tail go in amongst the ferns, and just having this sensation of, that looks like so much fun. She's just in the ferns, they're beautiful, I want to be there. And I stood there for a moment, and then I said, well, why not? And I just waded off the trail into the ferns and did my own wading and chipmunk hunting. And that was the first time I really had the realization that she, in her own way, had given me an invitation.
Yep.
And ever since then, it's kind of been nonstop. Just what invitations does she offer me? It's just really having a way of just noticing additional things that I might have walked right by, and she just brings me right to them. So I think in writing the book, I wanted to offer some practical how-to tips, and just share that these two things could be brought together.
One thing Nadine says to keep in mind is that this isn't necessarily about covering great distances with your dog. Forest bathing walks might be shorter than typical outings, but your dog will still get a lot of joy from them.
And that in the same way that it reduces stress and anxiety for people, it reduces stress and anxiety for our dogs. I call it a forest bathing walk, and it's really important for all of us to have that time to just be in sensory mode. I think it's in all of our DNA, being in nature and nature being somewhat of a refuge. Slowing down is a place to reset. I mean, we evolved in forests, and forests are our security.
You got your stick? I'm going to get it. Here I come. Get your stick.
Our dogs are our guides. They're slowing us down on these walks just by slowing down themselves and sniffing and chewing on things, investigating little things. They're just inviting us to stop and pay attention and notice all these little things.
Un autre petit chant.
What we notice is up to all of us individually, just kind of whatever we're drawn to or connected with.
She's helping me to notice more and stuff, yeah. And sounds too. A lot of times she'll, like, all of a sudden you'll just see her cock her head and I'll stop and we're both like, you know, trying to identify the sound or whatever. That's, yeah, I would say that's something she's brought a lot to me too.
I think that's something I notice a lot too, is when Juliet pauses and is listening to something, that I'm also pausing and listening and just kind of seeing what's out there, what is the forest, what's happening in the forest.
Yeah, she spots stuff that I don't. On the other hand, I spot stuff she doesn't. When we're driving, I'll say, doggy, you know, because she didn't see it coming. You know, she loves to run around the car, look out the window wherever the dog is. And birds. Runs out, looks out the back window. Oh, I'm going to go get them. No, you're not going to get the crows. Well, there were buzzards yesterday, vultures, circling over a neighbor's yard. And she just thought that was fantastic. I've got to hope one of them comes down there.
You like Steve in that camera, don't you?
That's an old red pine, worthless tree. You might have noticed our dogs are on leash. Far and Near requires it.
Now there is more to watch out for, as you're finding out. So
Get out of there, Kiki.
it can take some time.
Forest bathing with your dog. Is it new to you? Or is this something just
We do it every day, but without a leash. She goes where she will, and I go where I plan, and we go together. When she gets ahead of me, she always looks back to see if she's still headed in the right direction, meaning the direction I'm headed in. Yeah. Whether to leash your dog or not depends on what you believe. Some people prefer a leash to avoid the chance their dog will chase wildlife.
I'm a safety person first, so I really want people to not lose their dogs and not have wildlife get chased a lot.
Other people allow their dogs to roam. In a controlled manner, they hope.
It's a combination of knowing your dog, knowing whether they're going to roam far and wide, being able to keep track of them.
Nadine says forest bathing with your dog can be done either way, as long as it's safe.
In a way, for me personally, the leash is really nice because it slows us down and we stay connected. Juliet is actually really noise sensitive, so if she hears gunshots, she'll run off and not towards me necessarily, so it's really a safety factor for keeping her on leash.
So we're assuming the dogs are learning something all the time, right?
Maybe not. Actually, I think they're just being. You know, us humans work so hard at being and not IDing or working or thinking all the times, and dogs just are. And so they can be a great inspiration and an example of just being.
Forest bathing with your dog can take time to get used to. If you're the kind of person who likes to get from here to there in the least amount of time possible, you'll need to slow down. Nadine does something that forces her to do that. She sits down. Yes. And we should learn to be patient with them, right?
Yeah, well, do you notice anything from when we first sat down to everybody's energy now?
Yeah.
And it's been about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so everybody's a bit calmer.
Starting to hypo, I call it. Hypo down.
Yeah. So I think just allowing that time for our dogs to settle in. Cora's settling in, Juliet's settling in her spot. And Kiki's settling in. They're still checking things out, but so I think that almost when we're sitting, that is the time where we really have to learn to be patient or just allow patience. We might want to just sit quietly, but our dogs need to check the space out. They need to investigate all the smells. And oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes after they do, they naturally will just come and sit down, maybe next to you, maybe off in their own spot. Yep. And so it's just allowing them time for them to come to that place organically on their own.
She's my first puppy. Never had a puppy. And to watch her discover the forest through the eyes of it's like watching a toddler.
Young dogs are different from old dogs when it comes to this?
Yeah, so young dogs have a lot of energy, and I think it's really important to honor whatever our dog's energy is. So to walk and let everybody get their energy out. We also want to exercise and do whatever it is that we need to do when we're out on a walk. And so it's really important to just follow our natural way, our dog's natural way, and trust that a spot will emerge along the trail to pause and relax. Maybe often at the end of the walk is the best time to sit if that's something you want to do. But also if you don't want to sit, just wandering, and when natural pauses occur along the trail, when our dogs are pausing all the time to sniff things as they do, that's an opportunity for us to stop and look around. To slow down and relax, recharge our batteries. There's something about being in nature, out in the woods, that allows us to do that in a way that doesn't require medication. There's also just something about the time in nature, time in the forest specifically for me, just really noticing the community of living things here and that I'm a part of that community is really nurturing for me and has really become a part of my self-care routine. I think the practice of forest bathing, or forest therapy, as I like to call it, really helps to just recharge my relationship with the land, my relationship with being a part of this planet.
Now, I spend a lot of time outdoors. It's where I most feel at home. I've spent many years with a dog at my side, or in front of me, or behind me. I still do with Kiki. But there are times when I hike alone, and it can be a very different experience.
Well, when you're out alone versus when you're with a dog, at times it's different, and at times it's the same. I guess that's part of what I hope people experiment with. It can actually be enhanced sometimes because we're with our dog and we've got somebody to share it with. They're actually sharing things with us and helping us tune in to different things that we might not otherwise notice, like the ferns, the story with the ferns. I never would have stepped off into, well, now I might, but before that, I never would have stepped off into the ferns. And then also it can be more, you've got somebody with you who's got, you need to explore. And while it can be wonderful, it can also be allowing for them to have space to do their own thing. But I also think of that when we're walking in the woods with our family and friends. We're often chatting the whole time, which is really great and important. But it can also be lovely to just walk quietly without talking for a while.
As long as it isn't too self-conscious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Just walking and noticing. That's the thing I love about forest bathing, is it's just about noticing what's around us. There's no real purpose or intention. It's just being sensory and connecting with the forest in whatever way is right for each individual, taking in the atmosphere of the forest with our senses, including chewing on sticks. I think one of the big bonuses to forest bathing with your dog is having this adventure partner, to just be out in the forest with somebody who's enjoying it as much as you are.
Well, we've finished our session of forest bathing with dogs. and I'm ready for some regular bathing all by myself somewhere. It's a hot day. But we've come, of course, to that part of the episode that I like the least, the time we have to say goodbye. But first, my heartfelt thanks to Pam and Cora and Nadine and good old Juliet, who's still ignoring me. But thank you for bringing her. She's just lovely. And Kiki, you too. You've been a real peach today. So, I'm Willem Lang, and I hope to see you again on Windows to the Wild. Support for the production of Windows to the Wild is provided by the Alice J. Reen Charitable Trust, the Fuller Foundation, the Gilbert Verney Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.